All right. We always love to visit with our Rothman doctors. And today I have a special one. I love them all, man. They do God's work at Rothman. Uh, but I got a buddy of mine, Dr. Pedowitz,
Yeah.
is here. Do we have him up? Yo, Doc. Good to
Hey,
see you, buddy.
I see you too. What's
I
up,
was
guys?
waiting for you. I'm like, where's my man at, man? The greatest. Are you good? How's your
Good to be
family?
here. They're awesome. Yeah, three of them, three kids, and always something to keep you busy.
God bless you. How old are the kids?
24, 21, and 19.
Look at that, man. God bless you.
Right?
Do you miss on days like today, like Halloween? Because I'm seeing my kids now and they're out of that stage. I miss it. Do you miss them when they were that age?
I do miss it. And like we used to live in a neighborhood where it was like, that like scene in E.T. where like everyone's out. We used to live in a neighborhood like that, and I loved it. Now we don't really get any trick-or-treaters, and my kids aren't doing that anymore. They're going to parties with their own friends now as
I
adults. But
know.
I do miss it. It was nice.
It
really was.
was. There's something beautiful about that. Yeah, I knew you would. You're the greatest, man. You are. And let me just tell people, if anything's wrong, foot, ankle, there's no one better. There's nobody better. You are
Very kind.
incredibly thorough. You're brilliant. In fact, I always tell the story about because I had to. You remember I had to rupture on the other Achilles, and on my other one, it started to go, and you had the idea of putting the nitro packs to stimulate the blood flow, and it worked. It was just brilliant without having to. You're like, listen, I don't like to be invasive, and let's try this, and it worked. To like great, like I'm running, and it's awesome. You're amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic that it worked for you. I'm really glad it did.
Oh man! All right, let's talk about Cam Scatterbo because you're an amazing sports guy. That was scary. Talk about Halloween scary. What happened on Sunday with that ankle dislocation? From a medical standpoint, now we know you're not you didn't treat Cam, the whole thing. But what actually happens when an ankle dislocates like that? And what are the first steps in treatment, recovery?
So that was a terrible injury. And, I haven't seen an injury in a while that was so bad that in the replays, they don't want to show it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so that was pretty bad. So what he had was he not only had a dislocation, which means that the bones have been moved and separated from each other, but he had an open dislocation, meaning the bones dislocated and went through the skin so that you see his bone. And that's why it was, from many commentators' perspective, a really grotesque injury. And one of the first things you have to make sure is, this is a limb-threatening injury, right? I mean, you got to make sure that the blood vessels are intact, that he still has a pulse, that the nerves are okay, and that the skin is all right, and that the limb's going to survive. But one of the really important things to think about is this wasn't just a break, because when you have a break, bones heal. Bones heal great. It's
Right.
one of the few tissues in the body that heals without scar, right? You have an incision in your skin, it heals and you get a scar. You have a broken bone, it just heals with bone. And the bone's going to probably heal fine because he's young and, super healthy. But when you get an injury like that, you also injure the cartilage, the nice padding surface between the two bones. And cartilage in adults never heals. Cartilage in kids does, but cartilage in adults never heals. So that's going to be an important factor in how well he does long term.
Yeah, that's just tough. The compound nature of it, man. It's just so frightening. And you're right. Like they didn't want like listen, we're not going to show the replay. It's too much for our audience. And in fact, one of the Eagles guys, I'm not going to say who, but he saw that he was on the field and he actually lost it. He vomited after seeing it because it had that kind of impact on it. How do you get back to even start with confidence and what's that process like for the kid? Because he came in such a tough kid. You run his tough running style, rookie year. I mean, what do you think his future is?
Yeah, he's had amazing rookie season. I mean, and going back to the injury, it's amazing. Like he's like alert and oriented, almost like he's not injured. He's asking someone to help pull him up. And then that's sort of like the aspects of like the shock of the injury. But the best thing going for him is that he's young and healthy, right? He's got strong, big, healthy musculature around that ankle. But the biggest challenges are going to be on the rehab. Let's assume the skin heals, the bone heals, and all that kind of stuff, which it should. The biggest challenge is going to be on the rehab side,
Oof.
getting that strength back. Because if you think about getting back to work, you and me getting back to work after this injury, we're kind of in the middle. Like that curve that like for SAT scores, we're in the
Yes.
middle. So in the middle, we want to be able to do some activity. We want to be able to go to work. We want to be able to stand and sit and all that kind of stuff and drive. He is at the end of that curve, two standard deviations above the middle. So his expectations and his demands for work are much higher than everyone else's. And so to really get his thigh, his leg, his ankle, which are going to atrophy during this whole process, up to competing and in his case, excelling against his peers is going to be quite challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of time frame are you thinking?
I mean, I would
Ballpark.
say 12 months. I would say 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
12 months. It's not that it takes that long for those things to heal. It's for him to be competitive with his peers. I think
Right.
it'll take,
And to your point about
yeah,
the atrophy, all that stuff, like getting that whole leg back in that kind of shape to be able to be an NFL running back.
correct.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see these guys and they're like, I can only run 10 miles an hour on the treadmill. And I'm thinking, I couldn't possibly run 10 miles an hour on the treadmill. But they're like, I need to run 14 miles an hour on the
Yeah.
treadmill. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if you're going to need to get there, it's just going to take more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doc,
it's a tough injury.
you're the great man. I love you. You're the greatest. You got to come in. Promise me you'll come down and hang out with us. All right.
Love it.
I would love that. Listen, God bless your family. You're one of the greats, buddy.
And to yours too. Happy Halloween.
Thanks, pal.